Good morning, everyone, and welcome to day 2 of my 2024 catalog launch. This is Janet Wakeland with Remarkably Created, and I want to start off by wishing everyone a happy Mother's Day. If you're a mom, a grandma, an aunt, if you're someone that touches the lives of children and you nurture them and you hold them when they cry and you encourage them and lift them up, you are making a difference daily in their lives and in our future generations. So a huge shout out of thanks for me for having that impact on the lives of children. Whether you gave birth to them, whether you adopted them, whether you just bring them up under your wings, it is so necessary and so appreciated. So happy Mother's Day to all of you. So I have a lot of fun planned for you in this video. What we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the Lily Pond suite of products. I'll show you the products in that suite. I'm going to show you a few samples. We are going to create a card using one of the layouts, and one of the samples. We're going to recreate an actual catalog sample, going to showcase a layout, all kinds of fun stuff. So we got lots of good stuff. The catalog that we're launching and referencing is this catalog right here. If you live in the US and don't have a demonstrator that you work with and would like a complimentary copy, just message me or email me, janet@remarkablycreated.com. They are complimentary, and you're going to see in this video 2 different ways that I actually use this catalog as a creative tool. And again, the suite that I am referencing that we're going to be looking at is just, oh my gosh, it's adorable. And for me, what I'm finding is the challenge of preparing these samples for you in these videos is that a lot of times I don't want to stop playing. I don't want to move on to the next new product. This is a prime example of one that I think I could have played with for hours and hours. Good news is it's now here in the studio and I can come back to it. But on page 44 and 45, you will find the suite of products. A suite has one easy I want it all button, and it will order all of the products that is seen on that page. All of the products are also available individually. So for example, if you only want the stamp sets, you can do that, the dies, the embellishments, the paper. The bundle has a built-in 10% savings. So again, you have all of that. You have these great inspiring samples. So we'll come back to that in just a bit. So let's take a look at the products in this suite. First, you have this really fun stamp set. You make me happy, happy birthday, hello friend, have a lovely day. You've got some ducks, you've got these odd images, and we're gonna stamp and layer them so you can see how they all work together. Cute little frog and things like that. So you've got some cute images. You've got some dies. And you're going to find that you're going to be able to cut the ducks out. You're going to be able to cut the frog. The cattails you're going to be able to cut out. The little frog, some of the lily pads. The little tiny duck, you're going to be able to cut them out. In addition, you have what I call bonus dies. These are dies that don't cut a stamped image, but help you build a really pretty dimensional project, whether it's a scrapbook page, a tag, a card, or anything like that. So you have this fun framed piece, and they all have a little bit of kind of embossed detail, so they not only cut, but they'll also emboss for you. And so you've got your cattails, your little frame piece, some lily pads, you've got some additional ducks, and you've got some flowers for your lilies. So just to show you a little bit about what some of those look like and what you can do with them. So first up here in the dark gray are the dies, even just the plain ones that would have cut some shapes, but you can see them. Then you're able to build a duck. Okay, that sounds kind of fun, but you're going to be able to build a duck. And so you have elements, and I did them in 2 tones so that you can see how those ducks get built, okay? Then there's one sheet of paper here that you're going to be able to use dies to cut 4 of the images from that designer paper. And then again, here's some of the stamps showing you how you're able to cut those stamped images, okay? Then you have these really, really fun, and they're calling them dappled. Okay, I would have called them speckled, but they're calling them dappled. And since they designed them, they get to name them. You have Peach Pie, Pretty in Pink, and Gray Granite. And they are self-adhesive, and they are rounded. And then you have a pack of 12 by 12 paper. And there are 4 of each sheet in the paper. You actually saw this used on another project yesterday. But they're just really, really fun projects, papers. Lots of pretty colors in them. So, are these the same? Nope. So these look the same, but they're not. They got ducks doing different things and going different directions. Here you've got the duck on the back. Here you've got them kind of looking like they're getting ready to kiss each other. And if you look on the back, the print is different. So let's flip these all over. And again, one of the great things about Stampin' Up's designer papers, again, is that way that you can mix and match the front sides with the back sides. And then when you've got these neutral tones like here on this back side, what's great is, again, they go beyond the pack and you can use them with other things. So the colors featured in this pack of paper, let's flip it back over, just put it against the print. You're going to have Granny Apple Green, Stampin' Up's Granny Apple Green, the Gray Granite, the Pretty in Pink, the Peach Pie, Pretty Peacock, and Balmy Blue. So a real pretty assortment of colors that are featured. And just as a reminder, if you're new to Stampin' Up, Stampin' Up's color families include ink pads and markers. A lot of times you'll find ribbon. In this case, we've got Peacock ribbon and Pretty in Pink ribbon and Peach Pie ribbon. You're going to find Stampin' Blends. You'll find different embellishments as you saw here, but there's even more embellishments than that. So a lot of cross coordination and a one-stop shop for things that coordinate and work together when you shop the Stampin' Up colors and things like that. So we'll put that off to the side. So now let's bring in a few samples. I wanted to challenge myself to work with this piece right here, because as you can see, it doesn't die cut a circle. It die cuts a frame out of the cardstock. Now, of course, you can cut it shorter, but as I was die cutting it, I realized that this bottom place is a perfect spot for a greeting. So here I did it 2 different ways, just so you can see it 2 different ways. We did our sweet little frog on the lily pad, and we added some white flowers to those lilies. We have a lot of white lilies here in our bayou. And then here we have the whole duck family swimming. And this greeting, "You're not alone, I'm here for you," I thought was perfect because there was a whole family of ducks, and this is from the Comforting Thought set. And you can see that I added a little extra. It normally only has the built-in sets of cattails, but here I added a little extra. And I also added some lily pads on top, because when it cuts out, again, it's going to cut out tone on tone. Okay, so I built up the lily pads. And you can use this die right here to easily build up those lily pads. So 2 different projects there for you with those. Then last night, one of the second to the last videos that we did was with the embossing folders. And this is the swirly one that I showcased, and it happened to be laying on the desk this morning. And I thought, wow, that kind of looks like the water around the ducks swimming. And so we used that little piece of designer paper. Here's a little just tiny scrap strip, putting those to use underneath the edges. And then the Hello Friend and the little stylish shape, so the dies are used there. Now, this card right here, I want to showcase something for you in the catalog. I told you I was going to give you reasons to want and need your catalog. So if we go to, let me get it straight. I didn't put a tab on this page. But on page 32, down at the bottom, are all of these amazing card layouts. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6th one across, that is the template that I used for this project right here, is this template right here, okay? And I'll talk to you at the very last video of the day about getting your hands on those templates with dimensions. So just a little circle, a big welcome to your new baby. Yes, there's 4 of them, but it's a baby. They're baby ducks. So maybe it is quads, but in this case, I just put new baby. And we've got a sampling of the designer paper. Again, I guess a great way to use scraps and some of those dappled embellishments. And then let me bring the catalog back in for a third use of these, of your catalog. So down here in the corner on page 44 of the 2-page spread for the lily pond, you have a little treat bag of Pepperidge Farm fishy crackers. Okay, we call them fishy crackers at our house. We don't even say Pepperidge Farm. But if there were Pepperidge Farm crackers at my house, they wouldn't be in a bag. We'd be eating them. But anyway, instead of using and recreating this as a treat bag exactly, I took the concept of this and I turned it into a card. So if you'll see, there's a fish and a fish that were fussy cut. There's a die, birthday. So all of this part's the same. This is the paper from the topper, and I just extended it into a full card. And so you're going to easily be able to use the over 200 samples that are in this catalog to use them as a jumping off point, whether you modify them slightly, whether you copy them exactly as we're going to do here in just a minute. Well, almost exactly. Again, I modified it just a little bit. You can do that. On my blog, remarkablycreated.com, and in my upcoming newsletter, I have a PDF that, while it doesn't give you the dimensions of these cards, it does give you the supplies used, okay? So if you're wondering what color that is, what the background is, you're going to have that information. So that PDF will be in my next newsletter, so make sure you're on that free newsletter. If you don't want to join my newsletter, you can find that PDF at remarkablycreated.com. Just type in catalog supplies and the PDF should pop up for you. So let's start first with recreating, a card. Ooh, sorry about that. I was, my coffee cup was on my card supplies. Let's start first by recreating a card project. And let's move this. And we're going to slide this up. And the card that we're going to work on is this card. And again, I'm going to modify it slightly. But I picked this card so I can show you how to build a duck and how you can build up some of the elements. Now, the way that I've modified it, if you look here, it appears to be a 5x5 card. And I'm going to be lazy and not want to take the time to create an envelope, okay, a handmade envelope. I want to use a standard A2 envelope. So that's one of the reasons why I'm modifying it. And in addition, here in the background, they added a little bit of shading to create water, and I'm not doing that part, okay? So I have a half a sheet of cardstock, 8.5 by 5.5. Normally you would give it a good score in the middle, but so pretend like I did that, and we're going to add our crease. And we can go ahead and adhere this piece down. This was cut from the swimming ducks. So you've got that pretty color happening there. And we're going to use a little bit of liquid glue. I did a post on Earth Day about ways that we can conserve more and try to use less plastics as demonstrators. And one of the things I'm finding myself doing is using more liquid glue because it doesn't have as big a plastic footprint as seal replacements. So you'll still see me use both as I use up my seal, but for the most part, I'm really working on getting comfortable with liquid glue. So that's our base, and that's what we are going to start with. Now we have this piece here. Okay, the 2 pieces of grass that they've added. But if you look at the photo, the cattails actually have the peach pie color for them. So I went ahead and die cut 2 of the peach pie. And let's just put a little dab of glue. Let's put that off to the side. so that we have some glue ready to go. And we'll grab our little snips, and we're just going to cut these off. So 1, 2, and even without the cattails on them, this makes a nice little piece of grass. So I'm sure that you'll find a use for those. You can save those and have them. And now let's just put our cattails on here, kind of layer them up and give them a second look of color. You could also use the U-Pick putty tip to pick these up if you're having a hard time getting your fingers on them. And then we're going to go ahead and just layer those on the front of the card like this. Then you have your lily pads. So let's take our lily pads, and they use that to hide the bottom of that one a little bit, move it up a little bit. And a singular lily pad at the base of this one. Then we have our flowers, and I pre-die cut everything so that you don't have to. And in this case, they kept it all tone on tone. They kept it all peach pie and granny apple green. I'm taking a little creative license. I wanted a little bit more color. So I'm just going to add pretty in pink. But again, you're going to get the concept of how you can just recreate the image. If you want it exact, then do yours with peach pie. But again, I just kind of switched mine up a little bit. And we'll put that little flower down. Now we need to take our greeting, and you can either freehand cut, just depends on how well you trust yourself. And what we're doing is we're separating, and I just saved the friend, trash that piece. We're just cutting the hello. So we just separated that greeting. And that's going to be our greeting on the card. And we can actually go ahead and put that piece down, and then we'll work on putting our ducks together. Get our ducks in a row. I've been wanting to say that all morning. So we're just going to add the hello there. Now for the ducks, you have your big duck, and with the big duck, we're going to grab a wing, and you're going to be able to put a wing on. And you have a tiny little beak. So just a tiny dot of a glue dot. And again, this would be a really good one for the putty tool, but I'm not going to stop right now to pull it out. So now you've got your big duck. And let's put our big duck on the card so we don't lose it like I did that blue dot, which I finally found underneath. It hit the floor and actually slid up under my table. How crazy is that? But I was determined to find it because it was bugging me. So now we have our little duck, and when you cut them out, you end up with two different pieces, okay? So I found that if you cut the duck out in the color with the bill, then you can take the one that has like just like a little, the hole for where the wing goes. And let's put this together. So now you're going to have your, shoot Janet, your eyeball and your wing. And you can choose to leave it like that if you want to. But something I found that was a little bit fun is when you cut it out, because they're attached, there's two of them together, you can actually take and create a second little wing if you want to. You can take and elevate your duck just a little bit. So let's do our last little duck so that the card is finished. So you're going to have a lot of fun. I know for some people this is a little fussy. For me, I used to think it was a little fussy, and now it doesn't bother me. I actually find that it's very relaxing to do a little bit of building and to have a little bit of that creative opportunity. Of course, you can simply die cut it from paper if you want, But the other thing is you have the opportunity to do some very realistic looking ducks if you want to. Do some pretty wood ducks, different kinds of ducks, mallards, if you're into all of that kind of stuff. And we'll put our second little duck. It was kind of coming out of the reeds. And there you've got that card. So look how fun that is. Okay, so we're gonna leave all of that there. Push these off to the side. Give my hands a little rub. And we're gonna switch over for just a second. And I wanna show you how some of these stamps work together. One of the things about these stamps is that they're what we call two-step stamps. In other words, you don't need a marker or something like that to add color. What you need is, well, you could use a marker, okay? But instead of coloring in the stamp, you're gonna use stamps on top of stamps to add the colors, okay? So we're gonna open this up, and the colors that I pulled peach pie, pecan pie, just because they kind of go with the papers and I want to be able to use the images after I'm done creating them for you guys. So let's kind of set them, because I know I'm going to lean into them and they're going to be on my chest. So, okay. So let's start first with our sweet little, where's he at? Frog. And I'm going to stamp him first in Granny Apple Green because it's darker. So I'm going to stamp him up here. So can you see our sweet little frog sitting on the lily pad? Now I want to add a little bit of color to him. I'm going to use this block for the dirty stamps. And there is a tiny little frog. And you're going to see here when I add his body. And these are photopolymer stamps, which means that you're going to be able to excuse the gray hairs on the top of my head. But I'm going to lean in so I can look down over this, and I'm going to press down. And look how easily now he's colored. So now I've got that really fun two-tone frog. Okay, so let's close this one up. We're done with that. But let's bring in the leaf part of our cattails. And I'm going to use the Granny Apple Green. And when you stamp it, okay, you can die cut it as is if you want to, and then, you know, add some three-dimensional by cutting cardstock. But you're going to see that there's these three little dots kind of hanging out in the air. And the reason why those are there is you have this stamp that's kind of like three little ovals. And let's go back here. We're done with green. Close that up. And you're going to ink that up. I'm over here on the side. I'm going to put that in front of you so you can see what I'm doing, so it's no mystery. And you're just going to line those up under the three little points. And now you've created cattails in two tones. Okay, so you've got that two-step part happening. So let's leave, ooh, the ducks decided to go swimming in the peach. And I'm going to grab another piece of paper. And let's start, I'm going to use the gray granite as my outline. I didn't want stark black. You can use basic gray as a great outline. You can use, of course, basic black if you want that stark outline. But in this case, and we'll stamp it twice just so we can play around a little bit. And it works for both ducks. I'm only going to show you one duck, but you've got the same pieces to add images to both ducks. You just need to grab the right one for the right duck. You didn't see that. I didn't bring my cleaner to the table. There's always one thing I have to forget in each one. So we're going to use pecan pie, and I'm going to stamp it off just a little bit to lighten the ink. And then I'm going to look down through, and I'm going to add that color to my duck. And in this case, this is a female duck. Female ducks don't have all of that pretty color. They're not as bold and vibrant. The mates have that color to attract them. They're not the one doing the attraction. They are the ones being attracted. So, but here you can see full strength and stamped off. And now we need to add the beak and the little feet. And I had to laugh when I first saw this image. I thought at first it was like a humerus or some kind of leg bone or something like that, but you've got the beak at the top and the feet at the bottom. And I love this idea. Normally we would have these teeny, teeny, tiny little stamps, but in this case, they connected them. They put a little connector on them. And I thought, whoever came up with that idea needs a pay raise. So we're gonna look down again over their feet and bill. And let's do the other one. And now you know how to put all of the ducks together. You can go in if you wanted to with a pen or a pencil and add just a little more color if you wanted to do that. But again, you've got the stamps then to make that two parts. So you're going to be able to build ducks with your dies out of cardstock. You're going to be able to color your ducks with multi-stamping. And then of course you can just directly stamp your images. So many possibilities with this set, guys, that I'm really excited for this set. And like I said, it was really hard to stop playing this morning with this set. So take another look at it. It's on page 44 and 45 at the catalog. Yes, absolutely, Diane. It's definitely like putting a puzzle together. And I happen to love jigsaw puzzles. It's one of my favorite kind of calming, settling my mind things to do. So I love jigsaw puzzles. It's one of the only 2 games I have on my phone is puzzles. So again, take a look at it on page 44 and 45.